Okay guys, so for our image today, we're going to draw this out in pencil, and then we're going to use Sharpie and then watercolor. We have a mama bear and a baby bear hibernating. This is their little den. They're under the ground. There's snow out, I guess in the field and in the woods here. Some trees in the background. It's a night sky, moon and stars, and some trees up here in the foreground with their roots going into the ground here. This is actually a pretty simple drawing. I think it's actually perfect for this time of year. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with our guidelines. Okay, and again, like always, make sure that these are right in the middle of your page as much as possible. I'm going up and down and also sideways, left and right. Let's see, I'm not getting it in the middle of my page. There we go. Okay guys, so I actually went ahead and just put a couple more lines in here. I'm hoping that you can see my guidelines here. The first thing that I wanted to do was to do the bottom of my tree line. Okay, and that's going to start just a little bit above my, here, let me make it darker. On yours, I want you to make these lines lighter, but I'll make it darker so you can see. So I'm going to go, I don't know, maybe like a ½ inch above. It doesn't really matter. And I'm just going to make a line. I don't want it to be perfect, like perfectly straight, but it doesn't really matter the shape. I have it curving downwards a little bit. You can do that if you choose. You don't have to. So that's like the bottom of where my trees are. And then I'm going to do another line up here that's going to be for the top of my trees. Now this one I do want to be a little curvier because I want it to kind of be like tree tops and stuff. Okay. Now, so we have our trees. So this section here is our trees. Our next section is going to be the snow that's on top of the hill where our bear is. And that's also going to be just kind of a wiggly line. Think about how snow falls. It's never quite straight. But also this is a little hill right here. So we're going to go up above this, our guideline that we drew. Okay, we're going to go up above that guideline over here on the left. And then we're going to kind of come back down and just kind of make it bumpy and off the page. Okay, so that's the top of the snow, but we're pretending like we just put it like a piece of glass like inside the hill so that we can look and see, inside where the dirt is and where the bear is, so we can see how deep our snow is. So this is the top of our snow, but now we need to do the ground where the bottom of the snow is sitting. Okay, so this line is going to be basically the same shape as the one above, but it doesn't need to be quite as bumpy. I definitely still want to have that hill in there, but all those little bumps don't need to be in there. Something like that. So you should basically have 4 sort of wavy lines, and these 2 here should have a little bit of a hill over here on the left. Okay, now I'm going to look at my original over here. I'm going to try to find the middle. The middle is about right there. Okay, and this is just to the right of that middle line. So I'm going to come over here now on my drawing, and I'm going to start to do this little burrow thing, kind of like this. Okay, now it's kind of hard to imagine. These are, here, you know what? These are our trees. This is just kind of like a field, and this is our snow. So our little hole here is actually going to go up through our snow. So we're actually going to erase a tiny bit of our snowbank. Okay, so this is going to be our little hole. Now, our bear is way too big to really fit through that hole. This is not a realistic drawing. This is just kind of a fun, playful drawing. Now I do want you guys to erase right here, these two lines. This is the snow. The snow isn't going to be covering the opening to our cave, or our little nesting place for our little bear. Okay, just rough in an oval. It's going to go past, let's look at our original again. Here's center. It's going to go just past center, just barely. So I'm going to say like that. And again, I'm using lots of little strokes so that I can kind of plan out my shape. Okay, if I do one big stroke like that, then it doesn't usually turn out right. But if I do a lot of little strokes, I can adjust it as I go along. Okay, so this is going to be my little burrow for him. This is how he gets in there. So now this is my little tunnel, and I'm going to connect my tunnel to his little hiding spot down here. Okay, and then I'm going to erase this line right here as well. Okay, at this point, I think we can go ahead and erase our guidelines. Okay, so I cleaned up my image a little bit, guys. I just erased my guidelines, and I also just kind of cleaned up my lines a little bit, like with my eraser, to kind of solidify them a little bit more, so they're more exact. Okay, so if you want to do that, you can pause this and do that, but it's not a requirement, just something I wanted to do. Okay, now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to do our mama bear. Okay, and again, I want you guys to use lighter strokes. I'm going to use some darker strokes so you can see. We're going to start out basically with an oval, and we want her to fill up most of this shape. I actually thought about how big this den should be compared to the size of our bear. And I thought it should be just snug, not too big and not too tight. I think I'm going to leave it just like that. If you want to go ahead and finish your oval right here, you can do that. I'm going to leave mine, well, I'll go like that. But I'm going to leave this side open because this is where his or her head is going to be. If you've already drawn that in, don't worry about it. It's fine. Okay, so this is the bottom of where her oval would be. I'm going to go ahead and make her head just basically a circle about right here. Now, I want you guys to watch your proportions. Your proportion means how big the head is compared to the size of the rest of the body, okay? The head should not go past the middle line of the bear's body. If this is the whole bear's body, the head should not go past here, and it shouldn't go too much higher than halfway, you know, this way. So like right there, it should go just a little bit above, and it shouldn't cross that line. And we just do a circle, so our circle would go all the way down here, like that. So we're going to draw our arm over top of the bottom part of this circle, just a little bit. Kind of like, yeah. Kind of like that, just past her body. Okay, and that's her little arm. And then we're going to erase this part of the circle because this is where her little chin is resting on her arm, which we do need to draw now. This is actually more of like her little snout. Okay, guys, so for his nose, we have this little kind of snout. It kind of goes straight out a little bit and then kind of curves down and then kind of goes out a little bit again like that. Okay, and then he has kind of a, not sure what kind of shaped nose that is. like two kind of like angled lines and then a straight line at the top. Okay, and that's his little snout. Now, it's her little snout. I keep calling it a guy. It's not a guy. This is a girl. Now, not too far up, just a little bit beyond that, we're going to have a little line that kind of angles. Here, let me show you. Okay, now don't draw these lines. I just want you to watch, okay? If you were to take this nose and draw two lines that go straight up like that, and then connect those lines like that. That's really more of what the shape would sort of be. I don't want to draw that out because this is a cartoon, okay? But what we are going to do is keep a little line like right there, okay? Not all the way up where this point is, but just a little bit lower and on that line to give an indication that that's where her little snout is. Okay, so that's just part of the little snout. Now over here, just to the side of that, we're gonna have a little closed eye. And over here, we're gonna have another one. And then over here, just a little bit higher, we're gonna have just a slight indication of like a little eyebrow. Okay. Now over here, we had a circle. I want to change it a little bit though. I want to keep your curve here, but when you get to about where this bottom of the snout starts, curve under a little bit. And it could be that your circle is already like that, but if not, just go ahead and do that, and that'll help it look a little bit more like the shape that it's supposed to be. Okay. And actually, I think this little ear's maybe a little bit too high. I should be like right, like almost if the bear had a corner on its head, it would be right where that little corner is. Something like that, okay? And then inside of those little ears, we're gonna do like a small little circle. Okay, now this little arm that we've got is gonna angle down just a tiny bit, almost like it's got like a little wrist. And then we're gonna draw some pointy little claws, like 4 pointy little claws sticking out. Okay, and actually I'm going to raise this line here up just a little bit because I want it to go more like that, like right, like from her arm, and then go straight out like that. Her arm, oh, let me see. Okay, well this arm here, this arm here goes just underneath her little snout and then stops, like right there. It doesn't quite connect to her head. Okay, stops it right there. This arm here, this side of this arm, is gonna go back kind of like that. If you picture her, she's laying down like all hunched over. This is about where her shoulders would be, and we need her little arm to come up to like where her shoulder is. Okay. Now over here, this is going to be her leg all bent up. So we're going to have a circle. Actually, it's more like a C. It's not really a full circle. Come over here. And you guys know by now that I'm a messy drawer. I always draw real messy, and then I go back in and erase. Okay. Okay, so that's basically the shape for our mama bear. And now our little tiny baby bear, you know what, I'm going to erase this little line down here because our baby bear is going to go kind of right in this space, like kind of between the arm and this leg right here, but down over here by the ground, okay? So I'm going to erase this little bit of a line just for now. Okay. Now I'm going to actually start with a little head on this one. And it's going to kind of be, this one's going to be more like a rounded triangle a little bit. Like if you imagine drawing a triangle, but instead of having points, you had round edges. Okay, and then erase the inside of that out. Okay, so that's Baby Bear's little face. And we're going to give Baby Bear a little nose right here. And just some cute little slanty eyes. 1 and 2. And then she's going to have the tiniest little ear right there and right there. Just a little kind of little dot inside. Okay. And then we're going to give her a little arm. It's going to go underneath of her like that. And then over here, like kind of behind her ear, we're going to start her body. We're going to curve it up and around, and we'll put her little leg in like that. And then we'll just connect it kind of like that. And then we'll erase all these little lines out. I almost feel like I want this side to be a little bit closer to her head. So I'm going to bring that in just a little tiny bit further. If you're happy with yours, leave it. But this is the time where I want you to go in and look at everything you've done and make changes if you see something that looks too big or too small or maybe not quite in the right place. Right now is the time to fix that. Okay, and just kind of clean up our drawing a little bit. Okay, so there's my bear. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to draw some tall trees. These are going to be so tall that there's not going to be branches on them. They're just straight lines. So there's one. Actually, that's the right side and the left side. And then I'm going to do 2 more over here. They're going to be a little bit smaller than that one. Or I mean, a little bit thinner, I should say. And remember, it's just going to go to the top of the snow. Okay, and over here as well. We've got our little snowbank there. So it's going to go just to the top of the snow. Okay, and now I'll go in and erase these lines here. Okay, and now we're going to do the roots for these trees. Actually, it's really going to be this tree and this tree here. And again, this is supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to really look realistic. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start like where the right side of this, or I'm sorry, the left side of this tree trunk is. But I'm going to come down here below my snow. And I'm just going to just make a wavy line. Okay, and then I'm going to do another one next to it, but I'm going to have it merge into it like that. Okay, so it starts out thick and then it gets thin. And now I'm just going to do a whole bunch of little lines off of those and just keep making branches just like you would if we were to do a tree, which we will do later, but we've also done them in the past. And if you remember, we just sort of keep branching off of our first, our first branch or our first root in this case. I'm going to bring this over here. Now we're not going to go into our little bear cave. We're going to go right up kind of near it, but the roots aren't going to go into it. Be kind of like that. And then I'm going to do another one of these. It's kind of more in the center. Okay, the shape really doesn't matter. Just make it curvy and fun. Okay, then some branches coming off of it. Then I'm going to do one more that kind of comes out this way. My kitten wants to play. Okay, so there's my roots for this guy. And do you see how I brought these around and curved underneath of where our bear was? I just want a couple to kind of come down here. It doesn't need to be a lot, but maybe just one or two. Okay, and then we're going to do the exact same thing for this tree. Okay, so I'm going to start over here on this side. Oh my, that is Mr. Ron. He is my only cat that makes that noise, and that usually means that he would like to play. And he is probably sad that nobody is playing with him, but he'll be all right. Okay, so that's my left root. Now I'm going to have a middle one. Just going to kind of, I don't know, swing like that. And then this one's going to get smaller and smaller until it hits it. And then we'll have all kinds of lines. Now on this side, I also want to have a couple that kind of go around where the bear is. I kind of want it to feel like the roots are kind of like hugging the little den, or I need to figure out what this thing is called, where the bears hibernate in the winter time. I don't know if it's a cave or a den, but you know what I mean. I want it to kind of feel like the roots are surrounding it and, you know, keeping them nice and warm and safe in there. So they're not going to touch their space, but they're going to go right up next to it. Okay, and then I'm going to do one last one over here by the right side of our tree. And this one's going to come out this way, up above them, kind of. And then once again, just do your little branches. Okay, so that, my friends, is a little bear cave. Okay, a couple more details. We're going to put in our moon. Now you can have whatever kind of moon you want. If you want to do a full moon, you can do that. I chose to do like a little crescent moon. So, but even with that, I started out with a circle, and I decided about where I wanted the angle of my crescent to be. I wanted it to be about like that angle. Okay. So then I started just a little bit to the left of that line, and I made my inner part of the moon, and I went just a little bit past the line on this side. Okay, and really, if you wanted to, you could even keep the full side. Sometimes, I don't know if you guys have ever noticed, but sometimes the moon will be a crescent moon. It'll be all lit up, but then you'll see just the tiniest little line around here that's lit up as well. If you wanted to, you could leave it like that even, but I think I'm going to go ahead and erase it just to make it easier. Okay, now I'm going to draw a couple stars. And I'm just going to do them the way that I know how. There's not a right or wrong way to draw a star. Okay, just draw a star. And then maybe that's the wrong way, because I wanted to erase my lines and I erased my whole star. Okay, there. So I wanted to erase these inside lines. You know what? If you don't want to erase your inside lines, don't. It really doesn't matter. As long as you're happy with it. Okay. I'm just going to do a couple little shrubs because I feel like it. You don't have to do this at all, but if you want to, just like a little bush, just a couple little twigs sticking out. Okay, and that is that. What I want you to do now is to Sharpie this in, or Sharpie or micron pen. I'm actually using a little bit of a thicker micron pen. I don't know if you guys have noticed these pens have little numbers on them, and the bigger the number is, a thicker point on it. So I'm going to use an 05. I think I've been using like an 03 or something, but because a lot of these little lines can get kind of thin, I don't want them to get lost when we start painting. So go ahead and pause this here. I'll put it on the picture so you can see. Go ahead and pause this and ink everything in, and then erase all of your pencil marks, and then come right back, okay? Thanks. Okay guys, so I have gone in and inked everything and erased my pencil marks. I made a bunch of little dots, I think kind of to show like maybe like texture, like a little bit of dirt, or maybe like a little bit of shadow in the snow. I don't know. It's just a thing that I did. If you like it and would like to do that as well, you certainly may. I made them denser. In other words, I put more in a smaller space in shadow areas, like around the bear, kind of like hugging her and keeping her warm almost. But anyway, that's just a thing I did. Side note, while I was doing all of that, my husband put the dishwasher on, which is great, but I'm hoping it's not too loud for you guys. If you hear weird noises in the background, it's just my dishwasher. Hey guys, so listen, I'm editing my video right now. I actually drew this image a few days ago and filmed it for you. And I'm realizing that this is a crazy long video, and I went into a lot of detail, and I didn't realize how long this actually went on. So I'm going to include some of the watercolor instruction, but I just wanted to tell you basically what I did for the watercolor. And if you guys want to just turn this off and not watch the watercolor instruction, that's completely fine. It's watercolor. You can just have fun with it. But just so you know what I did, I used blues and purples for the sky area. I used blues and greens and teals for the tree and grass area. I used a little bit of blue on the snow, like for shadow for the snowbank. And then I wanted to use warm colors for the below the ground part. So cool colors above the ground and warm colors below the ground to make it seem like nice and cozy. So I used a lot of yellow, orange, and actually purple for my shadow colors. But I used a lot of yellow, orange, and a little bit of like pinkish purple for below the ground, okay? So if you want to, you could even just go back to the beginning of this video where I have the photo of the painting that I did, and just try to copy that with those colors, or if you wanted to use other colors, that's fine. But anyway, I just wanted to let you know that you don't have to go through and watch this whole video with the watercolor, and I'm going to try to condense it a little bit, but if you are done and we've spent some time already on this, feel free to just look at the original photo, okay, and do your best and make it something that you like. Okay, so if you stick with me, keep on watching, and if you're done, just go and have fun watercoloring, okay? Thanks.